What is up, Man Hour Nation? It is the Wyatt Williams, and I am here with the Isaac Hatfield. How are you today, Mr. Hatfield?
I'm doing good, bro. What's up?
What's up? What's going on?
Nothing, man. Just got back from the gym, ate, that's every day. That's
Every
all I
day?
do.
Nice
Oh,
little routine
yep,
you got.
basically.
Hey, so I have to ask, okay? All right, no
Yeah,
disrespect, because I respect all positions in football. All are needed,
I'm
okay?
ready. I'm
But
ready for
how
the
many
hate.
jokes do you get about being a long snapper? There are some ruthless people out in the world, okay? How many come after you about it?
Hey, I get a lot of support from, because I'm good friends with people that play the same position as me all over the country and stuff like that. So we're all supportive to each other. But there's a lot of TikToks and funny memes about being on the fourth down army for sure. So
Sure, sure. Hey, so the punters are people too movement, okay? Do you
yeah,
special teamers, you guys stick together? It's you guys against the world?
yeah. I mean, the punters are my best buddy. If I do my job, they do their job. We're helping out our defense. So that's the goal all the time. So of course I got my punters back always.
Sure. So when you talk about punters and having each other's back, what is that special connection that you and the punters and even the kickers and the holders, what is that special connection you guys share? Because you guys have to be on beat, on time. There cannot be a skip on anything. Everything has to be perfect, or you suffer big losses on missed field goals, blocked punts. So, what is that connection like between you and the kickers and punters and holders?
Yeah, I mean that's why they bring you in early and you get to know your guys and you all have to work as a unit. So like just the overall repetitions over and over and over of doing it together just correlates and simulates over to a game. So I've been working all week with Daniel Christiani. He's at Morehead State right now. I try to get together with Cole Hasung anytime he's in town. Just all the guys that we have worked together in high school and they're continuing to do that up where they're at, and we all just try to help each other get better, help each other get the reps, and stay consistent. So
So, you're really heavily involved with Rubio long snapping, who is
mhm.
is involved with all the top long snappers in the nation, as well as Hammer Kicking Academy. So,
Mhm.
just kind of break down each of them. We'll start with Rubio long snapping first. What has each of those programs meant to you, and just kind of explain like what it's for, what it does, and some of the opportunities that you get with each one. We'll start with Rubio.
Yeah, no, I mean Chris Rubio, he runs Rubio alongside me. He's been phenomenal. Like I have nothing but good things to say about him. He I mean he is at the end of the day, he's the one that taught me how to long snap. I did it in middle school and I did it freshman and sophomore year. I got my chance to start varsity. And after that, I was like, me and my parents both agreed, this is probably something you should look into and take a little more serious if you're already, playing at a level that you are without any training. I had no training. Everything I had done was self-taught, and so that was when I went to my first Rubio camp, and then it just all sparked from there. He taught me the basics, the drills. I repped them out. I got good. I started competing. I got invited to a ton of national showcases, films sent out everywhere, and that's the reason I'm here today. About to play college football is because of him, and then also Hammer Kicking Academy. They took me in. It was all my senior year, but once they took me in, they treated me right. I mean, they anything to get me at their camps. I felt really special to them because they, discounts. They covered flights. Anything that they could do to get me there, it was awesome. And so, just the experiences from both of those organizations, I recommend both of them to everyone out there that is thinking about snapping, punting, kicking, anything on fourth down. I recommend all those guys. They're great at what they do, great connections to colleges, and just overall, just phenomenal people. So,
So, we talked a minute ago about kind of like fine tuning between the kicker, the holder, the punter, and the long snapper.
hmm
But what does it take you to perfect your craft of? I mean, you have to be on beat. That
yeah,
what is the difference? Probably 16 yards between punter and long snapper. Is
yeah.
it 16 yards?
It's 15. We go
15.
15. Yeah,
So what does it take to perfect that? I mean, you got to be spot on. It's got to hit him in the chest, and it does every time. So what
yeah.
does it take to really perfect that motion?
Yeah, because like I said, learning how to long snap was one thing. A long process and learning the drills, learning the form, and your form is key. Like when you snap a football, it's like, especially a long snap, is people don't realize everything in your body is working to snap that football. So it's like a well-oiled machine, and if you got one thing wrong, your whole form's going to get thrown off. That like because people don't realize the velocity of the ball when it's coming out, if you're off by a centimeter down or a centimeter up, that could be the difference in it going over the punter's head because there's
Sure.
15 yards between you guys. So I release it a couple centimeters too high and he's only 6 foot tall, that might be going over his head. So it's like you have to fine tune, you have to, and it's also a big mental game. Like people don't realize, it's like, because I've repped it so much. Like everyone's heard of like the master rule, like 10,000 hours, 10,000 reps, to master something. It's like I've put in the time to be good at what I do. But at this point, it's just all mental. It's like when I'm down in my
Sure.
stance, it's like I'm thinking about anything other than snapping. It's like you don't want to psych yourself out. You don't want to do that. And like I have my techniques of staying calm, because you get in those situations where your punter's standing in the back of the end zone, and if you mess
Sure.
this up, that's 7 points for the other team. So it's
Yeah.
like you get in those situations where you have to be ready, and like the coaches don't expect any different of you. That's your job, and that's why you're there. So.
All right, what's up, Isaac? This is Michael Buckhouse. You know me from a time or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We have hung out, and
We've
we've
been
seen the
around.
world together,
Yeah.
right? So I have a funny story, right? So
Yeah.
I went to a kid,
God.
I went to high school with a kid that was a great punter. He went to Kansas State and he punted, right? And we ultimately ended up playing on the same team. I was actually I was a shooter on the punt team, and he was the punter his senior year and my sophomore year in college, right? We were playing in a big game. We were pinned back in the end zone. We were playing Texas Tech. And our punter lost his helmet. So yeah, how do you lose your helmet? I don't know. But he
He's
forgot
not
to
getting
come. He forgot to come on the field, or he didn't come on the field because he didn't have his helmet. So our long snapper didn't even look back, snapped the ball out of the back of the end zone. We lost that game by 2 points because he snapped the ball out of the back of the end zone. Now he gets ridiculed like the biggest. So like every year I have a memory on my Facebook and I share it and like, hey Tim, you forgot to come on the field because you lost your helmet. Do you look back at the punter before you snap?
Yeah, I do. So there's two techniques for long snapping, and like either one is perfectly fine. It doesn't change anything about the form, but there's a look snapper and then there's a no look snapper. And it's just personal preference, because some guys don't like to look because sometimes they get in their own head, they get nervous, they see, because there's times where you're in situations where, like, let's say your punter's standing at midfield or the 40-yard opposite 40 or something like that, and you see just 50, 60 yards of grass behind you, and it's just like kind of overwhelming that you see all that and you just think about how you could mess up this and that. So a lot of guys, they don't like to look, but I've never had a problem with that. I always look at my target. I always either communicate with my punter and have him stand a certain way or signal a certain way to give me a target, because that always helps me and stuff like that. But I've always been a look snapper, so I look through my legs, and I'm quick enough, like on my snaps and popping up, that I can release down the field without taking hits or anything. So I'm usually pretty good with that.
So let's put you in a hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
Before I let Brandon ask you a few questions here. Your punter
right.
doesn't come on the field. The play clock is below 5, and you have no timeouts. What do you do?
Well, below 5 seconds
Yeah,
and no timeouts.
no timeouts.
Okay, I mean, I would try my best to communicate to whoever, because I mean, every team has a fake punt or multiple fake punt plays. So if we had to, I would try to communicate, snap it to a shield guy, someone, just to avoid us from giving up points. Just anything I could do to not snap it out the back of the end zone, I guess.
Isaac,
I do have to give my man Tim some credit though. He was a great punter, but come on, man, forget your helmet.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that happens. I know the guy. You guys all know the old when Michigan and Michigan State played, and the punter dropped a snap, and Michigan State recovered it for the win.
Yep.
I actually am good buddies with the guy that snapped for Michigan that year, and he threw a perfect snap. But if you go back, you can get it on YouTube right now. His punter was standing at 17 yards because he was so nervous. He was so nervous about that play that he was at 17 yards. And the snap was fine for 15, but of course it's going to be low when he's 2 yards back. So, but.
Isaac, buddy, thanks for joining us, man. It's Brandon Combs. I see you wearing the NIU hat, man. I'm a Chicago guy, so I love me some Huskies, man, for sure.
That's the long
NWO.
Yeah.
No, that's a dog. Look, you can't tell.
Yeah. So let me tell you what just happened here in the first 10 minutes you've been on this show. Wyatt set you up to talk about how he could probably start over you when he was like 6 years old, which was like 3 years ago. Because he's done that with everybody we've had on. And then Buck used you so that he could tell one of his stories from 45 years ago when he used to play football, somewhere in Kansas. I'm not sure. I've never even heard of the college he went to. Yeah. But
back when it was black and white games.
Yeah, so don't let these guys fool you. Buck used to play with Air Parsegian and all those guys back in the day, but seriously though. So being a long snapper, man, that has got to be. And I know people there, like you said, there's memes, there's all sorts of jokes out there. People mess around, punters and long snappers and kickers, and they're not real football players. Blah 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 blah. To me, those guys play in probably the most pressure-packed situations on the football field. Game on the line, field goal to win the game. You've got to have a perfect snap and a perfect hold for the kicker to have a good kick.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What has been so far for you the most, I guess, heart-stopping moment you've ever had on the football field?
Well, this year, my senior year, we actually didn't punt the ball very much. I mean, we were winning games by a lot of points. There was not many situations to punt. So I didn't have many this year, but I brought up that like sophomore year was the first year I started varsity. And like I had never had any training. Like I said, everything that I did long snapping was self-taught. And so, I hadn't really learned the techniques to, calm down, keep my mind clear, that kind of stuff. And so we had a game against Seymour, and it's a close game and a game that we actually would end up losing. But we were up by, I think we were up by 4 or 5 at that situation. And I did have to snap one, and our punter was back of the end zone. Like I was probably snapping from like the 6-yard line. And 15 yards, the end zone's only 10. So, he was back there. And it was raining. My hands were wet. I've already been in, multiple plays in the game. So that was probably like, I'll remember that one. I can still vision like me do my legs, and he's standing right there by the goalpost, and it's like I can't mess this up right now. Especially because we were up 4 or 5 points, so if I mess that up and they score, they win the game. So our defense actually ended up giving up that touchdown and not me. So we did lose that game.
On the flip side of that, would you rather, as a long snapper, with the game on the line? Would you rather it be, would you rather leave it in the offense's hands, or would you rather be on the field with your kicker and your holder with the game on the line?
Well, I mean, I always have confidence in my guys. So if we're kicking a game-winning field goal, I'm going to be confident in them no matter what. And obviously I'm confident in myself. Like if I mess up one snap, then it was a bad game for me because I pride myself and I don't mess up. I'm confident. And it's like what Buck said earlier in the chat, you don't know who a long snapper is until they mess up, So if nobody knows who I am, then that means I'm doing pretty good. So, and
that's true.
That is fact right there. That's 100% facts.
Yeah. And I mean, I've put in, the reps I'm working on now because we are in Indiana, it's cold weather and stuff like that, but NIU's about to be cold. So I've been working on, I'll go outside and snap with just shorts and a tank on, even when it's like 30 degrees. I'm trying to get myself ready for that climate and stuff like that. So I'm always, I'm very good at preparing for what I have to do, So,
well, let's just be flat out honest. Let's be flat out honest. The only reason why you're snapping in shirts and a tank is because you want to show off those pythons that you have.
Well, duh. I'm not the strongest kid at Floyd Central for no reason.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Boost it up here. All right, so let me ask you a legitimate question here. I mean, I'm usually a pretty laid-back, lovable guy, right? Everybody loves me because I'm buck nasty. But
yeah, of course.
Many long snappers.
Your porn name? What is that?
Your porn name?
Buck nasty?
Hey, Don't come across the middle because it's about to be punishment. But
that's his magic Mike name.
hey,
Yeah. Don't come across the middle because it's gonna get nasty. He's gonna try to grab your butt.
we were talking about the gay
No
bar
shirt,
earlier,
just
so
a tie.
no shoe, no shirt, no service, right?
Oh, this
But
one sounds quick.
yeah, it did. But many long snappers play other positions on the field, like they are inverted from like a tight end or outside linebacker to that effect. Do you have any aspirations of playing any other position at NIU besides long snapping?
Yeah, actually, so it was the day before I committed there. They had me on like a FaceTime because it was the Friday before they had a game against Toledo. And they had me on a FaceTime, and they were at dinner, and they were all in the meeting room. They were all eating, coaches were meeting, everything. And they passed the phone around, let me meet the coaches, meet some of the players, all that stuff. It was super, super cool. They've treated me super well, and like I can't thank them enough for the opportunity. But yeah, their D-line coach has actually showed some interest that if I develop as an athlete, probably playing some D-ends, maybe like junior year or so, because they'll be in need for that, and like it'll be a good opportunity for me, to show my skills in other places too, because I've been as a long snapper, because there's a lot of long snappers that are 5'10", $185, but like I've been putting in the work. I'm 6'2", 240. I'm big, strong, fast, so I feel like I can help the team in other places also, and they definitely have shown that they'll give me the opportunity to do that. So,
all right, guys, any closing thoughts before I let Isaac go?
Absolutely. Isaac,
God.
my final
go.
question for you, man. Okay? You are a Baltimore Ravens fan. What do you see coming for your team this weekend against the Titans, and how far are they going to go in the playoffs? Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Now, I want to state that I'm a big fan of Derrick Henry. I've got nothing but good things to say about him. He's a great person on and off the field. But I think they've added a bunch of beef to that D-line. We're ready. We're going to take him down. And as long as Tannehill doesn't kill us with the arm, then I think we're going to be all right. So,
Well, then I have one last question for you before you go.
okay.
Michael Buckheister is a big advocate that Lamar Jackson is trash.
Oh, I know.
I think that
I've
he is
heard
out
for
of
years.
his mind. I think he's out of his mind. I think he is wrong. I don't think that Lamar Jackson has been everything he can be just yet. But what do you have to say to Michael Buckheister? I'm going to give you the floor. We're going to mute Michael Buckheister's mic.
Oh, God.
What do you have to say to a guy who says that Lamar Jackson's trash?
Okay, well, here's the thing. So I was watching Colin Cowherd today talk about this same exact point. And what he said is that, one, Lamar is the youngest quarterback in the playoffs. Two, he's the youngest player to get the youngest quarterback to 30 wins ever. And like a bunch of other stats, but yet he has all this pressure where young quarterbacks don't. Baker Mayfield was #1 pick overall, and there's zero pressure on him to win this game just because he plays for the Cleveland Browns. But Lamar has been so electric and so good at what he does in the regular season. That's why all the pressure is on him when he gets into the playoffs. And guess what? Peyton Manning didn't win until his fourth time in the playoffs, and he's a first Hall of Famer. So what I'm saying is once Lamar figures it out, they're going to be scary, and Buck knows that because he's a Chiefs fan, and we're going to take him out. So
Okay.
Buck.
Let me. Hey, hang on. Everybody, quiet down. Let me tell you some real facts here, Hatfield. All right. Since we are away from where I have to be like PG and crap like that, let me give you some real facts. The only reason why Lamar Jackson got 30 wins so fast because look who they freaking played. They play the Bengals twice a year. They play the Browns twice a year, and then they play like the Jets and the Giants. Come on, man.
Who
Like,
do the
there's
Chiefs
6 wins.
play?
Played the second
Who do
worst
the Chiefs
schedule
play?
in the NFL this season.
The Chiefs play in the AFC
second
West. It's
worst
the
schedule
Broncos,
this
the
season.
Raiders, and the Chargers.
But
None
at the
of them
beginning
made
of the
the
year,
playoffs.
they had the hardest schedule because they won the Super Bowl.
Oh,
But-
Three of the teams in the AFC North made the playoffs, Buck. Only one team in the AFC West did.
Only because there's 7 spots.
Oh my
it doesn't matter. You'd have to
It does
give up
matter.
spots to get an AFC West team in there other than Kansas City. And plus, don't even make me bring up the fact that you're a Cowboys fan because they couldn't beat a team without a name.
Get him, Hatfield. Get him.
Man, luckily I got my mud boots on because it is cold out in the garage, and the shackles are cold. But
You know what the best part of that is, Buck? The fact that you're a Chiefs fan and a Cowboys fan is that when your Chiefs finally lose next week, you're not going to be able to jump ship and say, well, at least I still got the Cowboys.
Well, I am always a Chiefs fans first, and everybody knows that. I'm always decked out in my red gear. But let me address that statement there, Hatfield. The only reason why the Broncos or the Raiders are not in the playoffs this year is because the NFL would not let the Broncos push that game back versus the Saints. If they had a quarterback, they would have beat freaking Taysom Hill and the Saints. Come on, and you guys know that. You guys know
You're
that.
Wrong.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
How many wins did the Broncos end with? That's what I want.
Okay, you are correct there. I think they ended up with like 5 or 6 , right? But
They would end up with.
if they would have beat the Saints,
the playoffs.
if they would have beat the Saints, they would have been transcending. And you know that one game, one quarter can change their whole course of the season. The Broncos beat the Saints. They are a 9-win team. I'm telling
They
you.
still would have missed.
No, they wouldn't have.
Buck.
A 10-win team didn't make
Derrick
it.
Henry ranked behind Miles Sanders and Le'Veon Bell heading into 2020. You are out of your mind. You just stop.
Listen, all I'm saying is that you better hope that the Chargers don't get a good coach, because if they do, they'll win the AFC West.
No, they won't.
Boom.
No, they won't.
Yeah, they will.
All right, guys. Hatfield, we got to let you go, man. We're going to take a quick little break, guys. All right, so thanks for joining us. We'll definitely have to have you on again shortly once you are, acclimated up there in the Chicagoland area.
Nation.
All right, man.
For sure.
Thanks for
Thanks for having me
great
on.
our clip. You can check out the full episode in the link below in the description, or you can check us live Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. East Coast time on youtube.com/Man Hour. Or you can download the podcast form on Spotify and iHeartRadio as well. Man Hour Nation, stand up.